All right, we get this question all the time from you guys out in the field. You're using the Trelleborg DrainPacker system, and you want to know how exactly does this thing cure? And the big one, do you need UV light? Let's get right into it and break it all down. Okay, picture this. You're on the job site. The liner's all ready to go. And you stop for a second. Wait, do I need to haul out the UV light train for this cure? I mean, it's a huge question, right? Because the answer completely changes your equipment setup, your whole process, and, whether the repair is going to work or not.
All right, so let's get straight to the science. How does this system actually harden up?
So the short answer, it's a big, fat no. You do not need UV light. See, the Trelleborg DrainPacker system, it's all about chemical curing. The real magic here isn't happening with light waves. It's all in a super powerful chemical reaction. What's driving this whole thing is what we call a two-component system. It's pretty straightforward, really. You take component B, that's your resin, and you mix it with component A, the hardener. And I mean, the second they combine, bam, a chemical reaction kicks off that creates this incredibly tough, durable bond. You gotta think of this mixture as the engine for the entire repair.
Okay, so we know it's a chemical thing, not a light thing. But what does that actually look like on the job site? Let's walk through the whole process, step by step, from a bucket of liquid resin to a brand new solid pipe.
When you get right down to it, the hands-on part really just boils down to three big stages. First up, you've got resin impregnation, basically just soaking that fiberglass mat completely. Second is installation, which is just getting the liner where it needs to go and inflating the packer. And then there's the third phase, and honestly, it's the most critical one, curing under constant pressure.
And this brings us to something that, I'm telling you, you absolutely cannot mess up. Precision is everything. The protocol is crystal clear, 1 part hardener to 2 parts resin. Look, this is not a suggestion, it's not a guideline, it's the law for this chemical reaction. If you get this mix wrong, the whole repair is pretty much toast.
So once you've got that liner mixed and in position, the inflatable packer becomes the hero of the story. It expands and just shoves that liner up against the old pipe wall, holding it super tight. And that pressure, it's not just for fun, it's absolutely critical. It gets rid of any gaps and, more importantly, it holds that liner perfectly still so the chemical reaction can do its thing and cure completely. Now we get to what is, let's be honest, probably the most stressful part of the entire job. You versus the clock. And with chemical curing, it's tricky, because you're not just racing against one clock. Oh no. You're juggling 2 totally different timelines at the same time, pot life and cure time.
And man, you have got to know the difference between these two. So pot life, think of that as your work time window. It's that short, frantic period from the moment you start mixing until the resin gets way too thick to work with. But cure time is totally different. That's the total time the packer has to stay inflated for the liner to get to full strength. Mixing these two up, yeah, that's a mistake that'll cost you. Big time.
Let's put some real numbers on this for the Trelleborg resin type A. Your pot life, get ready for this, is only 7 to 9 minutes. Seriously, that's all the time you've got to wet out the liner, load the packer, and get it in the pipe. It's a sprint. But once it's in place, the cure time is much longer, thankfully. We're talking 45 to 65 minutes, and that is the absolute minimum time you keep that packer inflated. No shortcuts, period.
Okay, that was a lot of info. The science, the process, the timing. So let's boil it all down to the absolute must-knows. These are the things you need to have burned into your brain when you're on the job. Look, if you forget everything else, just remember these 4 things. 1, this is a chemical process, not UV. Say it with me. Chemical, not UV. 2, it's all powered by that 2-component silicate resin. 3, that pressure from the packer, it's not optional, it is absolutely non-negotiable until the cure is 100% done. And finally, number 4, know your clock. Pot life is how long you have to work, cure time is how long you have to wait. Get that difference right every time.
And that really leaves us with one final big question. We've seen just how precise this whole thing is, from the mix ratio to the ticking clock. So I'll leave you with this to think about. For all you pros out there, what's really the biggest risk? What's the real-world, on-the-job consequence when you lose that precision for even a second? It's definitely something to keep in mind on your next job. Thanks for watching.